Welcome to another episode of the strategy session here on Lincoln Square. I'm Jeff Timmer with the Lincoln Project, and with me tonight is Joe Trippi. Joe, there's certainly never any lack of things we can talk about.
Yeah.
Uh, when I was thinking of where we should start our discussion tonight, why don't uh, we start with Texas and the redistricting battle that has taken on kind of a national. It's kind of like people are watching it like the OJ fleeing, capture by the police. Watching the car chase. They're watching what's going on. This has captured national attention. Why don't we start with a clip that the team has pulled that kind of sums up what's going on? Why don't we turn to that?
Part of my practice is criminal defense work. There is no felony in the Texas Penal Code for what he says. So respectfully, he's making up some okay? He's trying to get sound bites, and he has no legal mechanism. And if he did, subpoenas from Texas don't work in New York. So he gonna come get us how? Subpoenas in Texas don't work in Chicago. He's gonna come get us how? People wonder, why should New York be concerned about what's going on in Texas? Why should anywhere be concerned with what's going on in Texas? No one was paying attention to North Carolina in 2024. There were 7 Republican congresspeople. There were 7 Democratic congresspeople. Guess what? The Republicans rigged the game in North Carolina, and they took 3 seats. I'm going to say this one more again. That's Ebonics for those of y'all who don't speak it. They took 3 seats. Congress has a 3 Republican majority. Ding, 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 ding. So we weren't paying attention to what was going on in North Carolina. Texas will not be North Carolina.
There's a lot to unpack there, but why don't we start? Why don't I step back and say, I think part of the reason, yes, there's the kind of the situation, the overreach that the Republicans are engaged in right now to rig the election. But I think what's captured a lot of attention and is capturing hearts and minds are those majority of Americans who don't want to see this assault on the rule of law, assault on our politics, our culture, our courts, our system of government, looking for a champion, somebody who's going to fight back. And they don't have one person right now. They've got the Texas Democrats. Just like earlier this year, they had the Wisconsin Democrats who were electing a Supreme Court justice. That was an opportunity to fight back. People got engaged. The No Kings rallies in June. This now has captured the majority pro-democracy resistance in the United States because somebody's standing up and saying we're not going to play along with these bastardized rules. That's the way I see this right now, aside from the issue itself.
Well, no, I mean, if you were, we talked for, I don't know, last long time. The argument was, do people really care about democracy? Why do you talk about protecting democracy, defending democracy? Why do you keep saying that democracy is at stake? There's all these other issues that we should be talking about. True. But if you believe that and are still asking yourself, is democracy at stake after this? It was North Carolina last cycle. And they're changing the rules again. Hey, the Texas districts have been fine 2 years ago. Oh, what's happened to make them do this? Oh, let's see, Epstein, inflation, prices are still going up. Their policies suck. They know they're going down the toilet. So, and we've been saying and warning everybody that, this is an assault. It's been a movement that was an assault on democracy from the get-go. But this now, I think for a lot of people who are out there at No Kings and other, crosses the line in ways that I hope will spill more people out into the streets to protest against this. And I know as other states start to, California, New York, Illinois, and other states, Maryland, start to look at possibly responding in kind, we have to remember that what literally is at stake right now is not it is democracy itself. Everybody should be doing everything they can to stop this autocratic power grab, to stay in power, and be. And yes, that means if there's a seat out there that we can, that the pro-democracy forces, we know what the autocrats are doing. And they're not playing by any rules. They're breaking every rule there is, every norm there is. And for us to say, I mean, one of the big solutions to all of this long term, obviously, is having, citizen commissions that draw the lines, appointed sort of, almost juries, if you will, of citizens or commissions that would draw the lines. Turns out states like California, that's how the lines are drawn.
Mm-hmm.
Because when Democrats, we do it right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. We're playing by the rules, by the norms. They're not. And it's high time to take it head on, to expose it, to rally in the streets, not just these legislators that are standing up and doing everything they can to make it impossible for them to pass this crap, but we should be standing in the streets, and calling Abbott and every legislative office in the state of Texas, and literally raising our voices to make it clear that no, America, not just the Texas Democrats in the legislature, America will not stand for this.
Right. Yeah. Trygve Olson, who's our colleague at the Lincoln Project and frequent guest here on Lincoln Square properties as well, says that we need to play the game we're in, not the game we know. And the game we know is there's political battles, and there's been instances of heightened political strife all throughout our history. And if you certainly even in this millennium, in the last 25 years, there have been lots of instances, but the norms prevailed. We knew that whoever won, whoever lost, that there would be the next election where you go settle these things, right? Elections have consequences. The people in charge get to make the decisions, and we move on. This is different. This isn't a boxing match that has rules and a referee. This is a street fight that is an existential battle. Somebody's going to win or lose. Democracy in America, the system that we've had for nearly 250 years, is going to survive Trump, or it's not. That's what we're at right now. And if what's going on in Texas prevails, this is just another symptom of this rot that has been introduced. Not that gerrymandering is new, but using it to keep Trump in power, to keep investigations, to keep the checks that our system requires or has designed from the congressional branch. This branch that now under Republican control has ceded its power, the power to tax with the tariffs. They've ceded it to Donald Trump. They could take it back any minute. We either going to survive this or not. We have one side that has largely been trying to fight by those Marquis of Queensberry only punch above the waist kind of rules, that there's rules to this street fight, while the other side is kicking below the belt, biting, pulling hair, doing whatever is necessary to win. And that's what we have to do in this moment. It's not savory. It's not what we would like to do. But if New York or California or any other state can, in response to what Texas is doing, fight fire with fire, then they should do it.
Yeah. And the other thing, though, and particularly in Texas, look, we've all seen that, independents are fleeing where Trump and MAGA is going. They are moving big time against them. And I think in Texas, this may be something that backfires in a way that gets independents and some Republicans who still believe in democracy and will put country above party because this is clearly a power grab of the MAGA right. And I just think that on top of everything else, the mass deportations, the picking up people, no due process, shipping them off to gulags in foreign countries. I mean, all the things that have sort of the tariffs and everything else. Now, because those policies are failing clearly, and their majority is in jeopardy, as pointed out, they've only got it by 3 or 4 seats. That's what this 5-seat game in Texas is about. It's not about the American people. It's not about lowering costs or any of that stuff. No, it's about allowing him to keep covering up Epstein. It's about allowing him to keep doing this to our economy and siding with him. I mean, it's about power, and it's about a power that is destroying and clearly aimed at their autocratic power grab. Democracy really is on the line. This isn't how democracy should work. And you're right, Timur. Both parties have participated in gerrymandering for decades. But this is literally just a bastardization of how those lines should be drawn. And again, during this whole period where that battle has been going on, more and more states have been adopting, taking it out of the hands of politicians. And this is why, by the way, take it out of the hands of politicians, put it in the hands of citizens and commissions to actually look at an independent commission actually draws the lines fairly. But when you actually go down and look at, that's not happening in Alabama. That's sure not happening in Texas. No. So where the politicians have, and by the way, this is part of the problem, folks, when you say, well, geez, all these states should fight back and do the same thing. Well, for it. The problem is Texas didn't have any commission. It's basically the legislature is doing what it can, anything it wants, and is probably going to be, over time, they'll delay, but eventually they may well get their way on this just because it's still in the hands of partisan politicians. Now, so California has a problem because California has an independent commission that draws the lines. So it's not like Gavin Newsom can just do what Abbott's doing. That's not how it would work. They'd have to literally put a measure on the ballot, I think, this November that would allow the legislature, the Assembly and the Senate and the governor to change the lines. I mean, to return power, take it away from the commission and put it in the hands of the legislature. And, if that happens, I would hope that every independent Democrat and Republican would vote for that measure, not because, I want more Democrat, not for partisan reasons, but to save democracy itself. That's what this fight is about.
Yeah. And, I will, in the spirit of full disclosure, because I know I will get pushback on my mentions on Twitter and other places. If you Google my name and gerrymandering, there's a whole wealth of material that comes up. I spent 3 decades helping Republicans tip the scales in Michigan, my home state, when we controlled the legislature and the governor's office. And I even opposed the effort that led to a citizens redistricting commission now in Michigan that established for this decade. I have become a convert to that effort, but I know that people will say, "Oh, you're a hypocrite. You did this." I did. I saw the toxic results, the extreme polarization that gerrymandered districts, the way they toxified our politics by making primaries matter and general elections not, led to extremes in both parties, radically so on the political right. I saw the damage I had done, and part of my work the last 10 years has been a mea culpa, saying, what can I do to make amends? And so I wanted to address that before somebody came after me saying, you shouldn't be the one who talks on this. Well, I have experience with this, and I've changed. I've thought better of it. Let's shift gears a little bit, but it's still in the same kind of the autocratic playbook that we're seeing here. Last week, some troubling news for American consumers, American families came out. The economy's in bad shape. Big surprise. The economy was in good shape under Biden. Trump's kind of governing economic policy by the whims of whatever mood he's in, unilateral tariffs, all the nonsense, the big beautiful bill, the things that people are already doing to mitigate the increased costs are manifesting themselves in these reports. We've seen job loss. So what does Trump do? He fires the person who produces the stats. Now, we've seen in the past, the Bureau of Labor Statistics always comes out and revises its initial review. Sometimes it revises downward, whether it's jobs or inflation or GDP. Sometimes they say, hey, the last quarter or the last month was better than we initially forecast. It goes both ways. It's statistics. They do the best they can. They figure things out. Data comes in over time. They revise. So no one should fall under the argument that, oh, they got it wrong, so we need to get somebody in there who's competent. He did this for one reason. He liked the report in June when it showed that he had raised a lot of jobs. Then when they revised the numbers and said, yeah, he actually didn't, and July sucked. Now Trump's going to, the next report, we'll see that not only is there inflation, but there's negative inflation, and there's 11 bazillion jobs have been created. No one's going to be able to trust this. The system, not just the U.S. economic system and markets and banking, but the global system has relied on the professional legitimacy of these numbers because it sets the tone for the rest of the world's markets. And we're in trouble now.
Well, Trump to reality, you're fired. That's essentially what he's doing. Just firing reality, just scrambling it and turning it upside down. And yeah, you're right, Timmer. We're not going to be able to trust any numbers that come out of the Labor Statistics Bureau from now on, because even if they are real now, I mean, even if he really doesn't change anything in there, which, come on, it's Donald Trump. Of course, it's all going to be cooked. But I'm just saying, even he didn't, who would believe any of it? Look, the reality is that, it never made any sense to me. I know we harp on, these tariffs, they're going to raise, it's a tax on you. It's a tax. Mm-hmm. Okay, forget about the tax thing just for a second. I just want to level set. So we're going to raise tariffs. Let's just set it 15% higher across the globe. Worldwide tariffs, right? 140 countries. That's what he's sort of doing. Okay, we're going to raise tariffs to 15%, but somehow prices will go down on Americans. It's bullshit. It's like total crap. It makes no sense, no economic sense whatsoever. Forget about trying to sell people that it's really a tax on them. It is, but that's not my point. It's just use your common sense. If you raise tariffs 49% on this country, 35% on that country, 26%, and then across the board, just since we can't do all these deals, we'll just do across the board 15% on everybody. Somebody's got to pay the piper. Yes, I'm sure, although it'll be foreign corporations that will pay for it, and our prices will go down here somehow. Not happening. And by the way, that's why these reports, we saw this when Biden was president, and we had great jobs numbers, but people were not feeling that it themselves in their own pocketbook as prices were going up. That great, we've got jobs, but I'm having a tougher time paying my bills. He can cook the numbers all he wants, but people know this economy sucks. I mean, that it's gotten worse and it's getting worse. And the numbers, I mean, we may be in a recession right now. We may take, who knows for sure. And we may never know because he'll be releasing GDP numbers that are just good.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Us, so
1,500% growth last quarter. Yeah, I mean, Trump would probably say that Jimmy Carter or George H.W. Bush were idiots for not cooking the books themselves. If the numbers were hurting them, they should have just changed them.
Yeah,
that's how Trump got his loans. When his profit and loss statements for his businesses sucked, he just changed them. Took a Sharpie and changed them the way he did the hurricane map and found a bank that would lend him money. And he's taking that same approach to try to shape the global markets. The fact of the matter is, though, the markets are going to be looking elsewhere other than the U.S. for their anchors, their rocks to kind of use as their guidelights, as they make decisions.
One of the ideas that I've been kicking around, or people kicked around with me, is for the states to enter compacts with each other. So like you get New York, California, Illinois, Maryland, to literally create their own. I mean, let's look at the EPA. I mean, here he's like wiped out like any enforcement on polluters or any of that stuff. Well, if the states have a compact where they set pollution standards and they find corporations that are violating them, that sets the national EPA emission standards. And so I think part of this is sort of like how we're reacting to the redistricting in Texas is the same way I think we have to start reacting in sort of a bunch of states joining together to fight any of this stuff. I mean, when FEMA does not respond to a hurricane, would a multi-state compact be able to send between all those states to send help to a state that needs it, even when the feds and FEMA are failing to do it because Trump's government is inept and has cut all the funding. I think we've got to start thinking about doing things like that. I mean, about that we start setting the damn rules and being very proactive about taking on this stuff. And again, if a bunch of states join in how we deal with the power grab in Texas. And, you never know, but eventually over time, maybe a red state will join them. But I mean, particularly a red state that's threatened by hurricanes and things and knows will eventually find out that you can't count on Trump and FEMA anymore. We're probably only one or two storms away from understanding just how bad that's going to be. So there is there is a price for this autocratic grab that's going on and what it's costing the American people. And I think we've got to find some real innovative ways to take it on. And it's actually got to be us too. We can't keep waiting. It's not about waiting anymore. It's the only force out there that can turn the tide on this is the people. We, the people, have to stand up, stand with these Texas legislators, stand with them. Protest this, make your voices heard.
Well, Trump is the ultimate con man, and eventually the con catches up when he can't deliver, when the con man can't deliver what he's promised. And Trump has sold himself to the MAGA Republicans, his loyal base. He's the wonderful Wizard of Oz who has these magical powers and can do anything that they want. and will do anything that they want. When the truth is, he's, this little scared man hiding behind the curtain who has a deep, dark secret that he's in Epstein's files. That's what and this is exposing him for, he doesn't have the ability to do any of this stuff.
His real power is he can move people.
He doesn't have the knowledge on the economy. He doesn't have the schwack to do this stuff. He's not magic. The witch is can kick his ass any day, and he's using this mystical powers, or the appearance, the facade of mystical powers, to hide the fact that he has been involved in crimes, financial crimes, state crimes, as when he was president, and he has awareness and an association with. I don't know that he committed crimes with Jeffrey Epstein, but he's certainly in these files. He's all over this evidence, and now he's part of a cover-up. And so right now is every Republican in Washington and across the states who are defending this. And so, I don't feel sorry for them anymore. They made their bed. And now the fact that they've gone from justifying, good people on both sides in Charlottesville in 2017, and they thought, God, I'd never have to do something like that. And now they're defending pedophiles and child rapists and making excuses for them. And they have to look in the mirror every day.
And sending them to country club prisons.
Yeah.
That's his power.
Exactly.
He can pardon, and he can send them, he can coddle them in a country club prison.
Yeah. Well, we're at the end of our time here for this Tuesday's session of strategy session here on Lincoln Square. Be sure to tune in tomorrow and see Maya May on Punching Up. Her guest is going to be God. That's a hell of a guest to get. God, you've seen him on Twitter. That's who Maya's talking with tomorrow. So please tune in and watch. So Joe Trippi, thank you for joining again. I mean, this is always great talking with you. And you can follow Joe on socials, on Twitter and Blue Sky, and on Says Us. And you can find me, Jeff Timmer, on Twitter and Blue Sky, and wherever social media is sold.